Hello again, wrestling fans, and welcome to episode number 19 of This Week in History. My name is Shawn. I'm your host here from London, Ontario. We're recording this on a Sunday. It's kind of chilly here in London, but Jonesy's going to be moving soon, so we're going to try and stockpile some of these shows up so that we don't miss a week and we keep on track of everything. Just want to remind you that you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook, and we want to thank you for doing so. We're also available on audio versions on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcast from. We are proud partners with the Johners Podcasting Network in the UK, along with the Ontario Independent Podcast Network here in Ontario. We are supported by CoolBet, and so you can remember to stay cool and play responsibly. And they are also the sponsors of our Scumbags Prediction League, where you can win this championship title. Be sure to go to our website, scumbagswrestling.ca, that's on your screen right now, to find out how you can be a part of the prediction tournament. We've already done WrestleMania, and we've done Impact Wrestling's Rebellion. Our next one is going to be, I believe, WrestleMania Backlash on May 16th, followed by AEW's Double or Nothing on May 30th. So that, I think, clears up a lot of our maintenance on that end of things. Oh, one other thing before we bring in Jonesy is to make sure that you go to our store, Pro Wrestling Tees, prowrestlingtees.com/scumbagswrestling, and you can buy one of our t-shirts. Regardless of which t-shirt you buy, you're going to support a little boy that needs support with recovery and research. The 3 logo t-shirts will support Jordio's recovery for the month of April and May, and the comic style for the Ontario indie style comic book will still and always support Steven's wrestling journey and Steven Spice in the search for Carrie malformation in Toronto Sick Kids Hospital. So now that that's all done, I'm going to bring in Jonesy, who is still in Niagara Falls at the moment, but I heard you're coming down to London this week. How are you?
I'm supposed to do some packing and throw a whole bunch of stuff out. Go through a house. Lots of fun stuff.
Oh, sounds exciting. So we might be able to get one more episode in as well for that, depending on what your schedule is like. But yeah, we're definitely going to try and stockpile up because as you people who are watching right now can see behind you, you're in the process of moving from your apartment in Niagara. So
I am. I'm in a holding pattern. I've got all the stuff I don't use on an everyday basis is all packed up, and I'm just ready for your new place is ready, and then we'll whammo.
Yeah, and you've already sent me the next 2 weeks worth of history notes. I've found all the pictures that need to go with that. I just need to upload them into our format here, and so we'll be ready to go whenever scheduling allows. But yeah, so we will not miss another episode of this, and we'll also still be able to do Fantasy Warfare Tournament along the way. But it is history time. So when you're ready,
It is history time, and most any other history would put you to sleep, but because it's about wrestling, that's why we like it. So, starting with April 23rd, 42 years ago in Greensboro, Paul Jones and Ricky Steamboat defeated the Masked Superstar and Ken Patera to win the vacated NWA World Tag Team Championship.
That's some pretty blue leather that they used.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the color. I like the side of the belt. That's nice.
It's like Ultimate Gold.
Right. 33 years ago, also in Greensboro, Sting and Lex Luger defeated Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson to win the last Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament. The tournament would end when Turner bought JCP months later. 31 years ago in Austin, Texas, Mr. Perfect defeated Tito Santana in a tournament final to win the vacated WWF IC belt.
I remember that tournament well because I was watching Superstars. I might even have the matches that were recorded on VHS somewhere hidden in my parents' basement. And yeah, I remember that tournament and watching Superstars and also Wrestling Challenge uh, for this culmination and seeing Tio Santana and Mr. Perfect in the finals with Perfect picking up the victory. I was kind of disappointed, but also happy at the same time because Hennig seems to have this aura of him where he was a heel, but he was a heel that you liked without being one of those cool heels that eventually you would end up encountering all the time with guys like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
He was the ultimate jock, but he didn't, except for, okay, he was a little bit of a sleazebag when it came to WrestleMania 8 and Liz and all that stuff, but, you know.
Yeah, but at that time, it was the vignettes.
Well, he got influenced by Ric Flair.
To come in to the WWE were just awesome because I wish they would do that in a way more. So nowadays, you don't see those personality things where guys had between 6 and 13 weeks of vignettes. So when they came in, poof, you knew who they were. You had those for Mr. Perfect, Razor Ramon. There was Carlito, Jeff Jarrett, and all those others that you would have great promos for and get a sense of their personality and be able to connect with them, whether you wanted to like them or hate them. Dusty Rhodes had them with all his American Dream common man jobs.
Yes,
don't get that
you know
now.
what? I do miss that stuff. I also miss beginning of a match when their logos would come in and everything. I thought it was a nice presentation where the way they do it now, it takes too damn long, and it's still fantastic. It's much better entrances nowadays, but I mean, as far as what was on the screen, the little vignettes of someone talking about a match that they're going to have later on with them, and
yeah, I like the old Saturday main event format for that, and had things been able to pull off for Midwestern Wrestling's second show. I was going to try and help record like I did the first show and theme it like how Saturday's main event were the promos beforehand and stuff like that, which would have been awesome.
That theme is going in my head right now. Moving on, 16 years ago, we all learned how much WCW cost the WWE through a press release. $6.6 million. That's a pretty good price. That included all the expenses from beginning to end of the whole process that took about 5 years.
Yeah, I think the library was like 2.5 million, and then the rest was all investment in advertising and stuff like that over 5 years on Turner.
Yeah, and I it include, I believe, all their legal fees and everything. So
yeah,
it's funny. Sometimes when you buy something, it costs a lot more to legally own it. 15 years ago, TNA. Yep, I'm on the right one. TNA lockdown with every match on the show inside a steel cage. Samoa Joe defeated Sabu to retain the TNA X Division Championship. Christian Cage defeated Abyss to retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Team 3D defeated Team Canada, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, and A1 in an anthem match. The winning team got to sing their country's national anthem. Woo! Sting's Warriors, Sting, AJ Styles, Ron, The Truth Killings, and Rhino defeated Jarrett's army, consisting of course, Jarrett, Steiner, America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris, and James Storm, via submission in the Lethal Lockdown match. 14 years ago on Raw from London, England, Raw produced one of its best matches. Shawn Michaels defeated WWE Champion John Cena in a non-title match. The contest lasted almost an hour and has been voted best Raw match ever twice by the Wrestling Observer newsletter. 9 years ago on Raw from Detroit, Nikki Bella defeated Beth Phoenix in a Lumberjill match to win the WWE Divas Championship. This made the Bella twins the first sisters to hold the Diva Championship. Today would have been the 60th birthday of Terry Ray Gordy, a.k.a. Terry Gordy. He was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Gordy would become known along with Michael Hayes and later Buddy Roberts as he formed the Fabulous Freebirds. The Freebirds would have classic matches and feuds, most famously with the Von Erichs. On July 16, 2001, Gordy died of a heart attack. He would go into many halls of fame, including Southwestern Wrestling and Texas Wrestling Halls of Fame in 2014, the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2015, and the WWE Hall of Fame in 2016.
Yeah, a lot of people probably don't realize that, and it's one of the notes that you did take out of this, but he was the executioner when Mankind was feuding with Undertaker, and he was managed by Paul Bearer. Lasted a little bit of time, was part of the Buried Alive match that they had back at In Your House 11. But unfortunately, he didn't last long. I'm not sure if it's was health that kept him away from that, or he just wasn't getting over or wasn't into it. But he didn't last too long in that sort of last run in a major organization.
Yeah, some of those guys that at least I forgot was even, I didn't even know it was Gordy until later. Because really I don't remember the executioner. I remember when I think of that match, but I don't remember him anywhere else.
Well, they had so many different executioners anyways, because I think one of the executioners at WrestleMania against Tito Santana was Playboy Buddy Rose. So it was a interchangeable character. You just give them a mask and away you go, much like a doink.
Yes, much like a doink. That'd be a great shirt. 39 years ago, AWA President Stanley Blackburn officially strips Hulk Hogan of the AWA World Heavyweight Championship and his win erased from the record books due to using a foreign object, the same object that Bobby Heenan used on Hogan earlier in the match. 34 years ago, a returning Ken Patera returns to the WWF and picks up his first win since serving 2 years in prison for property damage at a McDonald's and assaulting a police officer. Bummer.
Yeah, not sure anybody would be serving 2 years in jail now for throwing something through a window at a McDonald's. Definitely, I think laws have changed.
And someone else was involved with that with him, and I can't remember who did.
Yeah, we talked about it on one of the other episodes. I think he was a Japanese wrestler with them. But just, yeah, I can't imagine a McDonald's being closed or not being able to serve and somebody getting angry and throwing something through a window like what happened with Patera.
Maybe it had something to do with their Sunday machine not working.
Yeah, 2 years in jail.
Hey, he's not the biggest scumbag in wrestling, I'll tell you.
That's true.
32 years ago, Big Van Vader defeated Shinya Hashimoto to win the Iwgp Heavyweight Championship in the Tokyo Dome at Superpowers Clash. Jushin Thunder Liger, also on that card, made his debut at the show, defeating Kuninaki Kobayashi. 31 years ago at a WWF television taping in San Diego, in a semi-final match for the IC belt, Rick Martel and Rowdy Piper fought to a double DQ, thus making Mr. Perfect the winner of the tournament and new IC champ. 27 years ago at a WCW Saturday Night taping, Ric Flair defeated Ricky Steamboat to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship at a WCW Saturday Night taping. This was a rematch of the DBL, the double, geez, I messed up my own short form. Ooh. This was a rematch of the double pin result at a spring stampede between Flair and Steamboat. 21 years ago on a WCW Monday Nitro, Diamond Dallas Page defeated Jeff Jarrett in a steel cage match to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. 16 years ago, TNA presented the very first lockdown event where every match is in a steel cage. The show was the final event for Chris Candido before his sudden passing less than a week later. During the opening match, Candido suffered a dislocated ankle, broken tibia, and broken fibula after taking a dropkick and landing on his leg awkwardly. 2 days later, he had an operation on his ankle, and a plate, screws, and pins were placed in his ankle. 3 days later, after the surgery, Candido collapsed and was rushed to a hospital where he was pronounced dead a short time later. The death was due to a blood clot from the surgery. No titles would change on the card.
And we'll talk about Chris Candido in just a couple of moments on the day that he passed away. So you'll learn more about Chris at that time.
April 25th. 41 years ago, both the WWF and NWA World Heavyweight Championships were defended in St. Louis, Missouri. WWF champion Bob Backlund defeated Bulldog Bob Brown to retain. NWA World Champion Harley Race successfully defended against Ric Flair. As well, Ken Patera defeated Kevin Von Erich to win the NWA Missouri Championship. 32 years ago, WWF taped the 21st edition of Saturday Night's Main Event from Iowa, airing May 27th. King Hacksaw Jim Duggan defeated Ravishing Rick Rude by countout in a WWF IC match. After being attacked by Zeus, Hulk Hogan defeated the Big Boss Man in a steel cage match to retain the WWF Championship. And I don't think I've ever seen that match. The Brainbusters, Arn and Tully, defeated Demolition Axe and Smash by DQ in the WWF Tag Team Championship match.
I actually kind of remember this Saturday Night's Main Event as one that I wanted to go back and see. And now that I know which number it was and can go back and see it. But I remember it because it was one of those Saturday Night's Main Events that I actually, as a kid, stayed up or snuck up to watch later. I had a TV in my room, but I'm not sure if I was fully watching wrestling without my family going, oh, ignore that or whatever. It might have been actually, but because of the late night it was, had to have the TV on in my room very low and watching it and trying to cover up any glow because I was supposed to be in bed and get up early on Sunday, and it's like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, I definitely remember Zeus at the
people. A lot of people would try to cover up watching something bad, porn or something, but you had to do it with wrestling.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But
the hardships of having to be a wrestling fan.
Yep. But I do remember the Zeus blocking Hogan and then the Bossman match, and yeah, pretty good.
Awesome. I love Zeus's look. 22 years ago, WWF presented the Last in Your House, number 28, Backlash. El Snow defeated Hardcore Holly to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. Mankind defeated the Big Show in a Broiler Room Brawl. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated The Rock in a no-holds-barred match to retain the WWF Championship. Earl Hebner counted the fall, even though Shane was the special guest referee. 21 years ago, at a SmackDown taping, Dean Malenko defeated Scotty 2 Hotty to win the WWF Light Heavyweight Championship. Crash Holly defeated Matt Hardy to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. After returning Stone Cold out from a neck injury in November, returns and destroys the DX Express by dropping a steel beam on it and causing the bus to blow up. Too bad that didn't happen to the Lex Express.
They might have used the Lex Express just without the decals.
Yeah, true. I'm not sure why it's exploding, but hey, everything explodes in wrestling. 21 years ago at a WCW Thunder taping in Syracuse, David Arquett shocks the wrestling world by becoming the WCW World Heavyweight Champion after making the pin in a tag match where DDP's title was on the line. Fans were not impressed as the next week's Nitro went down by some 600,000 viewers. Slamboree sales died and the movie Ready to Rumble crapped out completely. However, the bright side is David Arquett donated his championship earnings to the families of Darren Drozdoff, who was paralyzed in '99, along with Brian Pillman's family and Owen Hart's.
And get a chance, if you, I believe it, I'm trying to remember if it's Netflix or Prime. I think it's Netflix. If you find David Arquette, You Cannot Kill David Arquette. It is a documentary that came out, I'm going to say about a year ago, and I watched it. And he lives with regret about how he was trashed by wrestling fans for not deserving the championship. Meanwhile, it was an idea by Tony Schiavone backstage. If you ever listen to Tony Schiavone's What Happened One show with Conrad, but he's the one who just went, "What if we put it on him?" And they went, "Okay," but he was just a wrestling fan. He was out there promoting his movie, and they put the belt on him, and just everything that went on that way. And watching You Can't Kill David Arquette, that documentary movie that he did, you see him go back to roots and learn from DDP, going to Japan, no, sorry, Japan, Mexico, and wrestling in the streets with these guys, and earning respect and building his way up and doing all these matches. And you find out all the health issues that he has. He basically did everything to earn people's respect of what he did not get from before. So if you ever watch it, it's a worthy couple hours to take in and see uh, how much passion he has for the business.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that do respect him for what he is, what he's overcome over the years, and not just the wrestling, so many other things. 21 years ago, Randy Orton makes his WWF television debut with a win over Hardcore Holly at a SmackDown taping. Poor Hardcore. 11 years ago, WWE presented Extreme Rules. Sheamus defeated Triple H in a street fight. Beth Phoenix defeated Michelle McCool in an Extreme Makeover match to win the WWE Women's Championship. Edge defeated Chris Jericho in a steel cage match. And John Cena defeated Batista in a last man standing match to retain the WWE Championship. 10 years ago, WWE presented the 2011 WWE Draft on a special edition of Raw. This would be the last draft until the brands would split again in 2016. John Cena would be traded twice, landing back on Raw. Also to Raw was Mysterio, Big Show, and Alberto Del Jerko. To SmackDown was Randy Orton, Mark Henry, and Sin Cara. 7 years ago, WWE superfan Connor Michalik died of complications from brain and spinal cancer. He was just 8 years old. Connor would receive the very first Warrior Award in 2015, which was accepted by his father Steve and brother Jackson. April 26, 45 years ago in New York City, Stan Hansen breaks San Martino's neck during their WWF Championship match. The match was stopped by the referee due to excessive bleeding. San Martino would retain, but at a price. Hansen would go on to claim his clothesline broke Hansen's neck, when in reality it was a botched body slam that did the damage. 33 years ago, at a NWA Worldwide Wrestling taping in Chattanooga, the Fantastics Bully Fulton and Tommy Rogers defeated the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, and Stan Lane to win the NWA United States Tag Team Championship. The win ends a 345-day title run for the Midnight Express.
And
29 years. Go ahead.
Those who are followers of our channel will actually see our latest Fantasy Warfare tournament that is all about the NWA WCW US Tag Team titles. Definitely, if you don't get a chance to see it when it premieres live, you can always go back and see it. But it does consist of 15 champions only. It's a weird thing that the titles only had 15 winners before they were deactivated.
When you can't do a tournament, I mean, without a buy, I don't know. Is it really important enough? But there were some great champions in there, that's for sure.
That's why we're going to get to talk about the lineage.
Yes. I think we're at 29 years ago in Philly. John Hotbody defeated Jimmy Snuka to win the ECW Heavyweight Championship, which was one day after Snuka won it. 29 years ago, Sid Justice would wrestle his last match for a while in the WWF as he started his suspension for failing a drug test just before WrestleMania 8. His last match was a loss to Warrior. Poor guy. He would end up leaving for WCW until his return in 95. 27 years ago, AAA presented Triple Mania 2 Part A from Mexico. Triple Mania at this time was a series of events until 97. Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio Jr. in Winners defeated... that doesn't make sense. I guess the guy's name's Winners. That's weird. Defeated Los Disconstructors. Butchered that. Tony Ars, Volcano, and Rocco Valentine. Los Payos, Coco Roco, Coco Verde, and Coco Armia. You know what? I'm going to have to take some Mexican to help me pronounce these because I don't even know how to pronounce half of them. So I'm just going to move to the main event. Heavy Metal defeated Jerry Estrada 2-1 in a best of 3 falls hair versus hair match. Oh, that Mexican. Wow. I do like Mexican wrestling. 27 years ago, at a Monday Night Raw taping in Vermont, Earthquake defeated Yokozuna in a sumo match. Captain Lou would lead his 15th and final tag team to the WWF Tag Team Championship. As the Head Shrinkers, Fatu and Samu defeated the Quebecers to win the WWF Tag Team Championship. Did you know that Albino guided some 13 teams to the WWF Tag Belts, including the Valiant Brothers, the Wild Samoans, and so forth? His teams combined for 15 championship wins, plus he himself, along with Tony Altomare, as the Sicilians. So he's got to be one of the best managers of all time right there. Just with that.
15 tag team titles, I believe, with 13 different teams. I was looking for it and was going to make a collage, but it just became rabbit hole diving in, trying to find all his teams. And I was.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs are in there too, as one of the teams. 26 years ago at a WWF taping, Bob Holly almost defeats Jeff Jarrett to win the WWF IC belt. The pin was invalid as Double J had his leg on the ropes during the pin. The belt would be held up as they would have a rematch later that night. That match aired the next week. Double J would roll up Holly for the win and reclaim his belt. And jobber and complete dirtbag Buck Zumhoff, who was the first to go into an Undertaker bag, would lose to Jean-Paul Levesque, who made his WWF television debut as Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I'm seeing the picture. Wow. Helmsley's finisher was a diamond cutter that night. The reason why Buck Zumhoff is a complete dirtbag is he was sentenced to 25 years in prison in 2014 for criminal sexual misconduct while with someone that was related to him. He had a history of sexual crimes, as in 86, he was charged and served 36 years, again in 89 involving a minor. To the bad, the Undertaker didn't stuff him a little deeper into that body bag.
Yep. I remember seeing him in the AWA, especially with the picture on the right-hand side.
That's like a poster of kids. This is what happens when you're a dirtbag.
Yeah, because the left-hand side, when he was in the AWA, he had the boombox with him. He didn't have the boombox with him with WWF because he was a jobber. And then, of course, on the right-hand side, you see his mugshot, and he almost looks like Mickey Rourke did in The Wrestler as Randy the Ram.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking he's a white Johnny B. Bad.
In the one side, yeah.
23 years ago, WWF presented In Your House 21 Unforgiven from Greensboro Coliseum. Farouk, Ken Shamrock, and Steve Blackman defeated The Nation, The Rock, D'Lo Brown, and Mark Henry. The New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn defeated Legion of Doom 2000, Animal and Hawk to retain the WWF Tag Team Championship. The Undertaker defeated Kane in an Inferno match, and Dude Love defeated Stone Cold Steve Austin by DQ in a WWF Championship match. 22 years ago on WCW Monday Nitro, Sting defeated Diamond Dallas Page to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. But wait, later that night he loses it in a fatal four-way with Nash and Goldberg, with DDP reclaiming the belt. And Rey Mysterio Jr. defeated Psychosis to win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. 12 years ago, WWE presented Backlash. Christian defeated Jack Swagger to win the ECW Championship. Chris Jericho defeated Ricky Steamboat. Jeff Hardy defeated Matt Hardy in an I Quit match. Santina Marella defeated Beth Phoenix. Legacy defeated Triple H, Batista, and Shane McMahon. As Orton got the winning fall in the match, he won the WWE Championship. And Edge defeated John Cena in a last man standing match to win the World Heavyweight Championship. 11 years ago, WWE presented the 2010 draft on a special edition of Raw. The Hart Dynasty defeated Show Miz to win the WWE Unified Tag Team Championship. Team Raw MVP Henry DiBiase, Santino Marella, and Yoshitatsu defeated Team SmackDown, which was Kane, Rey Mysterio, R-Truth, Drew McIntyre, and Shad Gaspard. After this, you can tell us who the heck Shad Gaspard is. 5-3 in a team battle royal to win the 3 draft picks for Raw. I wasn't watching wrestling at this time. Batista defeated Randy Orton and Sheamus in a triple threat match to become number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. The draft picks for the night saw 2 Raw was John Morrison, R-Truth, Edge, and Jericho, and the SmackDown Kelly, Big Slow, Kofi, and Christian. And if you didn't remember, TNA Impact was up against Raw that night, with the main event seeing Abyss defeating Ric Flair in a Hall of Fame ring versus a Hall of Fame ring match. The ratings sucked. And so who was Shad Gaspard?
Shad Gaspard was one half of the tag team Crime Time, or the Neighborhoodies in the Independence. And Shad actually passed away last year when trying to save his son drowning. His son was saved, and he unfortunately got swept out by an undertow and found a couple days later, a little bit further down. A lot of people were crying foul this year, though, that he was not given the Warrior Award because of that. So that's why his name also was coming up recently.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see that. Why can't they give out 2 Warrior Awards? I don't.
Yeah, I get.
Well, I guess they technically did, but.
Yeah, but at the same time, he saved his son. He didn't do a lot of things community-wise, where a lot of the Warrior Awards.
Yeah, but maybe an honorary one that they do once a month or something.
They could do something for him for sure. I'm not sure if the Warrior Award would be the appropriate thing, but yeah, he definitely.
If enough people hashtagged it, it would happen.
Yeah.
7 years ago, Marshall Aaron Mayer, aka Lee Marshall, dies of esophageal cancer throat cancer, because I can't say it today, in Santa Monica, California. He was 64. Marshall was a longtime radio announcer, including time in Canada up in Windsor, known as King News, and appeared in the West Coast Rap All-Stars video. We're all in the same gang. In wrestling, Marshall hosted AWA on ESPN for years and was the announcer at WrestleMania 2, the LA portion. In the mid to late 90s, he was a part of the WCW broadcast team. He would also succeed Thurl Ravencroft as the voice of Tony the Tiger in 2005. He would continue to do voice work, including cartoons and WOW Wrestling.
They're great.
They are great. And you know what? The person they have doing it right now, I think I could do a better Tony the Tiger. April 27th, 40 years ago in Augusta, Georgia, Tommy Rich defeated Harley Race to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. 34 years ago in Memphis, Austin Idol, with help from Tommy Rich, who hid under the ring drinking beer, good for you, defeated Jerry Lawler in a hair versus hair steel cage match to win the AWA Southern Heavyweight Championship. Austin Idol guaranteed his win by agreeing to refund the admission gate funds if he did not win. It's a pretty good promotion. Kind of like when a team, says they're not going to win, though. This way you can control it. 29 years ago at a WCW Saturday night, Barry Windham defeated stunning Steve Austin 2-1 in a best-of-3 falls match to win the WCW World Television Championship. 22 years ago, WWF taped a pilot episode of SmackDown from the New Haven Coliseum in New Haven, Connecticut. This was intended as a one-time special. However, UPN would pick it up as a series due to the high 5.8 rating it received. This show saw the formation of the corporation. Some of the matches: The Big Show defeated Test in just 47 seconds. X-Pac and Kane defeated the New Age Outlaws, Mr. Ass and Road Dogg to retain the WWF Tag Team Championship. Ken Shamrock defeated Bradshaw in a no-holds-barred street fight, and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock defeated the Corporate Ministry, The Undertaker, and Triple H. 18 years ago, WWE presented Backlash. Team Angle defeated Los Guerreros to retain the WWE Tag Team Championship. Rob Van Dam and Kane defeated the Dudleys to retain the World Tag Team Championship, and Chief Morley was the special referee. Jazz defeated Trish Stratus to win the WWE Women's Championship. Triple H, Jericho, Flair all defeated Kevin Nash. Oh, nice. Shawn Michaels, there's other guys, and Booker T. Goldberg defeated The Rock in the main event. 14 years ago, the first film from WWE Studios did a big belly flop at the box office with only $8.5 million. The Condemned, starring Stone Cold Steve Austin, would, however, recoup its losses and actually make money due to DVD sales of over $22 million. That is a honking a lot from DVD sales. Wow.
I actually liked this movie. It was a pretty decent concept for sure. I have it in my box full of DVDs. Just the concept of using the whole internet and almost the internet meets or murder in a way meets Big Brother, because it had cameras all over the island. So it was Survivor.
Kind of like Halloween Resurrection, I think.
Yeah, and then you had the island, which would be Survivor part, and also then Big Brother, where everything was being watched, and they had to kill each other to be the last man standing.
I'll tell you, Stone Cold is not a bad actor. I don't know if he'll ever win an award for acting, but he is pretty good on the screen, and he has presence on that screen. It's too bad that he hasn't been able to get the better movies, the better scripts, the better producers for his movies. Yeah, it would be great to see a WW produced movie that had both Austin and Rock in it. I think, mind you, it could lose as much as the XFL, but So 13 years ago, WWE presented Backlash from Baltimore. Matt Hardy defeated MVP to win the WWE United States Championship. The Undertaker defeated Edge to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Triple H defeated Randy Orton, John Cena, and John Bradshaw Layfield in a Florida four-way match, elimination match, to win the WWE Championship. 13 years ago in Osaka, Japan, Kenji Moto defeated Shinsuke, that's better, than Nakamura, to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Normally I can say Shinsuke and Nakamura, no problem, just like that, but when I'm reading on this, you look at that spelling and it's like, oh, my brain hurts.
The spelling does throw you off.
Yes. 12 years ago in Charlotte, Reed Flair would face felony charges. This was due to the driving impaired, a revoked license, and possessing heroin. This would end Ring of Honor's relationship with Reed and his father. 7 years ago, TNA presented Sacrifice. The Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, defeated the Bros, Jesse Golders and Robbie E, and DJ Z in a no DQ handicap match to win the TNA World Tag Team Championship. Gunner defeated James Storm in an I Quit match, and Gina Love defeated Madison Rayne to win the TNA Knockouts Championship, and Eric Young defeated Magnus to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. 6 years ago, Laverne Clarence Gagne, a.k.a. Vern Gagne, passes away at the age of 89. On to April 28th. 30 years ago today, WWF taped Saturday Night's Main Event, airing 4 days later on NBC. Macho Man Randy Savage defeated George Animal Steel in a lumberjack match. British Bulldogs defeated the Hart Foundation to zip in a best-of-3 falls match for the WWF Tag Team Championship. However, the titles did not change hands because the first fall ended in a DQ win for the Bulldogs. That's a dumb rule. Ricky Steamboat defeated Hercules by DQ to retain the WWF IC belt. And the Can-Am Connection, Rick Martel and Tom Zank, defeated Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik. 26 years ago, WCW and New Japan co-presented the 2-day event Collision in Korea from North Korea. Day 1 had Bull Nakano and Akira Hogutu defeat Manami Toyota and Mariko Yoshida. Hiroshi Haas defeated Wild Pegasus. Masahiro Chono and Hiro Sato defeated El Samurai and Tadeo Yasuda. Shinya Hashimoto fought Scott Norton to a 20-minute limit draw for the Iwgp Heavyweight Championship. Wish I had more than one take on these ones. Wow. Day 2, Haruo Sato defeated Yuji Nagata. Wild Pegasus defeated Cold Scorpio. Mashiro Chono and Scott Norton defeated Takayuki Izuka and Akira Nogami. And Antonio Inoki defeated Ric Flair.
Yeah, apparently this one had quite the backstage politics and crap going on. I'd have to look into it a little bit closer, but it's really bad to the point where Dark Side of the Ring is dedicating a whole episode of it to the collision in Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And is that on the WWE Network?
No, that's going to be this season on Vice TV.
No, I meant the
Collision Korea could be on WWE Network. Yes, actual event.
Okay. Might take a look at that. All right. The Ultimate okay, here we go. 25 years ago, WWF presented In Your House 7, Good Friends, Better Enemies. This would be the last televised event for Scott Hall and Kevin Nash before leaving for WCW. The Ultimate Warrior defeated Goldust by countout in a WWF IC Championship match. Vader defeated Razor Ramon. Shawn Michaels defeated Diesel in a no-holds-barred match to retain the WWF Championship. Well, some of their last matches were tough ones. Steel cage and no-holds-barred. Wow. Way to send the guy out of the company, eh? Beat the crap out of you.
Yeah, well, the other part is the fact that in that match, I think it was Mad Dog Bashan was sitting ringside.
Oh my God, that's one of the best matches of all time.
And that's when he got his leg taken away from him because he's an amputee, and it was used as part of the finisher of this match.
That was just classic TV. And that was was that before the Monday Night Wars, or was that just at the beginning? That would be at the beginning.
Monday Night Wars were happening, but WCW didn't have the momentum until Scott and Kevin left.
Okay.
And that's when it was also just before the Attitude Era started.
24 years ago on Raw's War from Nebraska, Owen Hart defeats Rocky Maivia to win the WWF IC belt. 19 years ago, Aloysius Martin Thez, born, well, his name is Lou Thez. He dies of complications from triple bypass surgery in a hospital in Orlando, Florida. He was 86. I shouldn't be laughing at that. 16 years ago, Christopher Barrett Candido, aka Chris Candido, it's spelled with a T instead of a D on the end, died of pneumonia due to a blood clot from a surgery in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He was just 33. He was born March 21st, 1972 in Edison, New Jersey. Candido was a third-generation wrestler. His grandfather was Popeye Chuck Richards, who competed in the WWF. He would meet his forever love, Tammy Lynn Cinch, in high school. While traveling the independent circuit, he would become lifelong friends with Jonathan Ratchner, a.k.a. Balls Mahoney. In May 1995, Candido and Cinch made their WWF television debuts as Skip and Sonny the Body Donnas. They would feud with Barry Horowitz, the jobber who finally won a couples match at Candido's expense. After failing with Rad Radford as Skip's tag team partner, Tom Richard, his kayfabe cousin, would become a team and hold the tag team belts for a short time. Candido would leave the WWF following a failed Sonny replacement in the cross-dressing Cloudy, a.k.a. James Haney. In late 96, he would return to ECW and feud with Bam Bam Bigelow and Lance Storm, even became tag champs with Storm in late of 97. Candido would join WCW, even winning the Cruiserweight title for a month, then was fired along with Cinch for a drug paraphernalia found in their locker room. He would wrestle in XPW and later in 2005 joined TNA for a brief time until he broke his leg in a match with Sonny Sayaki. Just 3 days after the operation on his leg, Candido was rushed to the hospital after he had collapsed due to a blood clot from the surgery. Candido would suffer acute pneumonia and it would claim his life. He was just 33.
Yeah, it's a shame for somebody as talented as Candido was that happened to him. And just unfortunately also everything else with that, because he was so into wrestling and brought his girlfriend along, and Cornette made her a character. Tammy Lynn Bitch and everything was created out of it. I think that was Francine, and so it was Sitch versus Bitch. Then she got brought in as Tamara Murphy and was doing event center stuff before they brought in Candido and started doing the obnoxious workout duo, and just may have been obviously a bad gimmick for him considering how much of a technician he was. But then just everything that came after that, the unfortunate fall into drugs, the cheating that happened between Sonny and everybody in the locker room behind his back, and he was so obviously in love with her that he kept on taking her back or not breaking up with her. Guy deserved a whole lot better than what he ended up getting in the end. So rest in peace, Chris Candido.
So you're saying that Sonny was, he deserved more than Sonny? Wow, he deserved a lot in life. But yes, I agree.
He
9 years ago.
He scored
Sorry?
big getting Sonny. Come on. Before she went downhill and gained weight and all the drugs and everything that ruined her, he was definitely one of the luckiest guys around. But then, with the fact that she was hooking up with allegedly Bret Hart, but definitely hooking up with Shawn Michaels, and people saw it, and he was like, okay, and constantly taking her back. Dude needed more self-worth.
Wow, pretty deep, man. 9 years ago, Extreme Rising presents its debut show, Extreme Reunion from the Pennsylvania Arena, I would imagine. This ECW-type reboot would not receive well, as Sabu and Justin Credible were kicked off the show because they were hopped up on goofballs and couldn't perform. 6 years ago in Illinois, Bad News Barrett defeated Neville in the final to win the 2015 King of the Ring tournament. April 29th, our last day. 25 years ago, New Japan Pro Wrestling presented Battle Formation 96 from the Tokyo Dome, with over 65,000 in attendance to watch a showdown with the UWF, which was the inspiration of the NWO. The Great Suzuki defeated Jushin Thunder Liger to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Randy Savage defeated I usually can say this one. Hiroyoshi Tenzan. Mashiro Chono defeated Lex Luger. The Road Warriors and Power Warrior, Kensuke Sasaki, defeated Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, and Scott Norton. In Shinya Hashimoto defeated Buko, I don't know, Takada via submission to win the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Almost should pre-record those ones so I don't have such trouble. 23 years ago, the Heartland Wrestling Association presented the first Brian Pillman Memorial Show from Norwood, Ontario. This was to help raise funds for the family of Pillman. WWF Steve Austin and Sonny hosted. On the card, see Nick Dinsmore defeat Trailer Park Trash. Reno Riggins and Steve Dunn defeated Brian Taylor and Bounty Hunter. Al Snow defeated Chris Jericho. And a pretty good main event, Chris Benoit defeated Chris Jericho. 21 years ago in Bakersfield, California, Sabu defeated the Messiah in a tournament final to win the vacated XPW Heavyweight Championship. Sabu would hold it for a record of 392 and then was stripped of the belt for no showing. And that was 392 days. What a way to lose it. 20 years ago, WWF presented Backlash. In the Sunday Night Heat pre-show, Jerry Lynn defeated Crash Holly to win the WWF Lightweight Heavyweight Championship. Rhino defeated Raven to retain the WWF Hardcore Championship. Chris Benoit defeated Kurt Angle in a 4-3 in overtime in a 30-minute Ultimate Submission match. And the two-man power trip, WWF Steve Austin and WWF Intercontinental Champion Triple H defeated the Brothers of Destruction to win the WWF Tag Team Championship. And just a quick little question. For the Ultimate Submission match, is it kind of like, it's kind of, some matches don't stand up when you remember a match like in WrestleMania 12 of the Iron Man match where neither one could get a frickin' pin, but here in 30 minutes you can get 7 submissions?
Yeah, it's kind of
like,
seemed a little odd.
I remember it was a great match, but
Pat Patterson must not have been on the writing team for that one.
Oh, could have been, yes. 19 years ago on Raw from Buffalo, Steven Richards defeated Bubba Ray Dudley to win the WWF Hardcore Championship. 14 years ago, WWE presented Backlash. Chris Benoit defeated MVP Porter to retain the WWE United States Championship. Team McMahon, which was Umaga, Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon, defeated Bobby Lashley in the handicap match. Vince McMahon made the pin and he won the ECW Championship. The Undertaker fought Batista to a draw in a last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena defeated Edge, Randy Orton, and Shawn Michaels in a fatal 4-way match to retain the WWE Championship. 13 years ago at a SmackDown taping in Atlantic City, The Undertaker is stripped of the World Heavyweight Championship for using an illegal chokehold, according to GM Vicky Guerrero. 10 years ago, Nicholas Wilson, a.k.a. CZW's Nick Gage, is sentenced to 5 years in prison for second-degree robbery. He would get paroled on March 31st, 2015. But wait, there's more. Gagne would arrest again in September for parole violation. He would be released from prison in November of 2016. 10 years ago, WWE launches its Be a Start anti-bullying campaign. STAR, which stands for Show Tolerance and Respect. 9 years ago, WWE presented Extreme Rules. Some of the matches saw CM Punk defeat Chris Jericho in a Chicago street fight to retain the WWE Championship. Layla Law defeated Nikki Bella to win the WWE Divas Championship. And John Cena defeated Brock Lesnar in his first match back since Mania 20, an Extreme Rules match. 6 years ago in Japan, Togi Makabe defeated Tomohiro Ishii to win the Never Openweight Championship. And finally, 6 years ago, Jeff Hardy breaks his leg in a dirt bike accident. YouTube this one if you wish. YouTube this one if you wish. I did. Matt Hardy is the one behind the camera. And This Week in Wrestling, of course, is compiled from the vast land of Google, Wikipedia, CagesideSeats.com, and most importantly, from fans and journalists that had front row seats to history. And here we have codes coming soon for the our sponsor.
Yes, very shortly we are going to hear our official code for CoolBet, where you're going to be able to earn extra money towards your account at CoolBet, and you can always stay cool and bet responsibly and be a part of the Scumbags Prediction League, where this lovely championship belt, designed and put together by Unlimited Belts,
could be mine.
Could be yours if you earn enough points. And we have the season is cut into 3 different parts, where 2 parts are earning points to get into the finals, and then there'll be a 2-month final. So you can always get in on that at any time. And there's a fun side for free where you're not in contention for this title, but then the $25 for being in the pro side of things and a contender for this championship belt. All the details can be found at our website, which is scumbagswrestling.ca, and that's where you can always find out what events are coming up, what matches are happening during those events, so you know what matches you're putting your picks in for. And we give you up till about an hour before the pay-per-view starts, so you can't really rely too much on spoilers beforehand, but get your picks in at that time and sit back with everybody else and enjoy the show and see if you end up getting points. So that is the Scumbags Prediction League that happens at every pay-per-view for WWE, NXT, AEW, and Impact Wrestling. So definitely, as I said, check out scumbagswrestling.ca for more details. You can also, Wednesdays at 6 p.m., find us for the Fantasy Warfare Tournament. We break down the best of the best and find out who comes out on top, whether it's a match, whether it's a pay-per-view, a title. We look at them all, and it's more history like we do here. And then, of course, barring any changes with guests or illnesses and work, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. is the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. And we do that at 8 o'clock on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. So I think that's everything we need to plug. One final time about our t-shirts at our store, which is at prowrestlingtees.com/scumbagswrestling, and you can get any of those shirts that are there and support Gordito's recovery by buying a Scumbags podcast. The Raw is War style or the original logo. And, of course, the comic book celebrating Ontario Indie that supports Steven's wrestling journey. He just recently had some surgery on his throat and is recovering from that to help his airwaves. And they're also doing research for curing formation at Children's Hospital in Toronto. So Steven is a huge wrestling fan. So is Gordito. And these kids really are overcoming a lot of obstacles that at their age of 9 and 7 should never have to even encounter. They should still be allowed to be kids, but they are facing these obstacles. So we're doing our part by selling these shirts, not taking any profit, and sending our profit towards their causes. So reach out at our Pro Wrestling Tees page or contact us by email or on Facebook and see how you can help out. I think that covers everything.
Excellent.
Yeah, so thank you once again, Chris, for being a part of this. And we will be back next week with more history. Have a good one.
And I think it's a depressing week, if I remember.
Oh, fun.
If you want a variety of wrestling news and history, look no further than the Scumbags Wrestling family of shows. On Wednesday nights at 6 p.m., join Shawn, Steven, and Jonesy as we look for the best of the best and break it all down in a unique tournament format on Fantasy Warfare Tournament. Then, Thursdays at noon, take a look back at the rich history of our great sport with This Week in History. Relive title changes, births, deaths, and some of the best events of all time. Finally, join us for the latest in wrestling news, show results, and predictions Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. The Scumbags Wrestling can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube,